Alright, welcome to the next portion of the Spongebob only playthrough of Bikini Bottom. This time we're gonna head on over to Goo Lagoon. Goo Lagoon is one of those few areas in this game that are really strangely friendly to not actually using any of the characters or the cruise level or bubble bowl. Primarily because this level wasn't designed with the cruise level or bubble bowl in mind, but alternatively because really outside of the boardwalk, you're pier, you're really not ever expected to use Patrick for anything, and the pier is such a non-linear area, even though you can progress through it linearly, technically speaking, that it doesn't pose any real challenge. Meaning that we're not going to have much of any real problem here. Now, you may recall a couple things that Patrick's supposed to be able to do here that might not seem terribly obvious in terms of how someone's going to accomplish them, but that will be answered pretty soon, because those are going to be some of the first things that I deal with. This is also the portion of the playthrough that gave rise to the thumbnail idea for this particular playthrough as well. I came up with the idea for the thumbnail for this playthrough actually months ago. That's a little bit of an understatement. Back when I was first doing this playthrough, actually, when I was formulating the route.
Well, you do look a little red. Robot?
Yeah.
Oh no!
So many of you have been crafty and figured out that you can actually rid this robot without any trouble if you just use the cruise bubble. Of course, we don't have that, and the game was always designed for you to destroy the robot without using cruise bubble anyways, so it won't be any problem. With the exception, of course, of the final guard tower. The final left guard tower you're supposed to get to as Patrick and then switch to Spongebob once you're over there. That's not the route we're going to take, but we are still going to get over there. And that's going to be where the thumbnail comes in. Now, what we want to do first, however, is actually get rid of the issue of all the other lifeguard towers. So first we're going to set all those up. I don't actually have the combination of lifeguard towers memorized. I just got really lucky when I was hitting the buttons. I did get it wrong at one point, but I actually noticed something very peculiar as well. Although a very small number of glitches, or whatever, strange observations that I noticed in this playthrough while recording it that were entirely unintended. I actually ended up doing something a little odd. I do realize, however, that I reflected to the wrong lifeguard tower just then. Once you go over to this tower, something interesting happens. Not anything that I would think would ever be useful. Well, actually, it's something that could be useful in the speed run when I think about it. If you look, I don't know what triggered this, or if this is always the case, but if you look, I hit the button. I'm wrong. So I do is I just go over and hit the next button. And then because I'm impatient, I start pressing up before I'm actually done. Watch this cutscene. I just run on forwards. Yeah, I still had control over Spongebob during that cutscene. I don't know if it's always like that. It's something that I just wasn't aware of being an issue. In any case, now we need to actually activate that final lifeguard tower. So what we're going to do is a very, very delicate glitch known as a sponge glide, which unfortunately we can't take full advantage of in this playthrough because that's not what I do. Because this usually leaves us without any kind of momentum whatsoever, and you can't control yourself under normal circumstances while doing this either. So what we do is we basically do a sponge glide by performing a bubble bounce while somehow, in some way, canceling all of our vertical speed. I don't know how that happens in that case, but we can do that, and for some reason also retain our horizontal speed. I don't know why. I have no idea why that glitch works. But there are other places in the game where you can perform sponge glides by losing all of your vertical speed while doing a bubble bounce, but also lose all your horizontal speed, your lateral speed, which normally just ends in you being stuck in place. Now, if you use something called the cruise boost, which gives you forwards momentum in the direction you're facing, you can actually steer it, and that can be used for a variety of glitches, such as synchronizing skips and stream. That's not what we're worried about right now because, well, we have neither the cruise bubble nor the bubble bowl, so we cannot in fact use the cruise boost because it requires both of those things. So unfortunately, one of the greatest tricks on speedrunning in this game is not available to us. However, another trick that is in fact available to us, a very nice one, is this. We can actually just run on over here, and look at that, we can go right under the goo. Very convenient that the developers left this here. Normally you couldn't get to this area because normally Hans would take us away before we get over here because there's an invisible boundary. But because we have Hans disabled, back from the first episode, we can actually just run along there and go right under the goo. Touching the top of the goo doesn't, or touching the bottom of the goo rather, doesn't do anything to us at all. It is in fact solid, but you'll just get stuck on it. By that I mean it acts like an almost alien, you won't get stuck on it forever or anything. Mind the fact that there are in fact bombless pits here though. Nothing interesting happens when you fall on them. You really just have to reset the room. In this case, the room being this particular portion of the lagoon. But the purpose of this is actually picking up a spatula that the very smart of you might have realized would be very difficult to get without Patrick. The spatula that you need to acquire by using this clam over here. Again, we're going to go with a recurring theme of not ever paying clams. We're going to have to pay a couple, but not many. For some reason, it's really hard to not get hurt by some of these flame-throwing whatevers. I don't understand what they were, other than just like pull cords, I guess. This one I know that takes some damage from though, because I actually realized there's a nice, convenient, quick way to get out of here after we do this. See, normally we have to come over here as Patrick and pick up the spatula, but now we can actually just run on the goo as Spongebob, and there it is. Nothing more necessary, just run over to it. And then, it turns out actually there's a thunder tiki right about here. Oh, here. There we go. So I just hit that and it sends it back to where I need to be. For those of you that are wondering why that thunder tiki is there, it's actually a misplacement of thunder tiki by the developers. It's supposed to be on a bridge, it's directly above, on the exact same X and Y coordinates, or X and Z coordinates rather. And it would complete that chain of thunder tikis that would otherwise be complete on the bridge from the sandcastle to the caves. For those of you such as myself that were always frustrated by the fact that you can't blow up all those thunder tikis simultaneously because they don't properly chain, that's actually why. The developers intended for it to be possible, it just didn't quite work out because they misplaced something. Anyhow, as most of the game is at this point, there's nothing much special to saving the children. Just run along up to them, bell bash, and there's nothing really to it. I was always disappointed slightly by the fact that the children don't have separate animations for landing in odd places, primarily by falling in the goo. They just act as if the goo is solid ground. Regardless, we will find that we also have to, well, rather, we will find that it's convenient to save some time once you get over to the sandcastle. I'll spoil things right now by saying I do a very poor job of that. I would like to reiterate at this point, this is not a speedrun in any means. This is something that I tried to save a little bit of time with when possible, once because I was impatient, and playing this game at 50% speed, remind yourself. And as such, everything was taking so much time, and I didn't want to record everything, where everything was 1 hour long. So I decided to try to speed things up, and had varying degrees of success. In this case, I could probably find a more efficient route by... I try to get fancy this part by taking out Monsoon with some fancy tactics, but I would just sell for no attack. In any case, there's probably some quicker way to do this, but what I ended up doing is I actually just get all the children on this loop around, talk to Mrs. Puff, and then go all the way back around to the sandcastle. I'm sure there is a more optimized route, but I didn't bother looking at any modern speedruns. I tried to get that child to fall into the goo just to show they would act like it was normal ground, but couldn't pull it off. But I could have checked up on some Colud's runs, since at that time he was the main streamer? Yeah, I suppose streamer of this game. But now we're in the days of Shift, and I could have also looked at his, which I never decided to do because I wasn't willing to put too much more time into this run by this point, by the time I actually got around to recording it. At this point, I just wanted everything I'd done to get publicized, since some people had expressed interest in seeing it. Spatula number, what is this one? 28, look at that. Nice clean number. Of course, we could progress further in the game into the second area by this point, but we're not going to bother with that just yet, because we need absolutely every single spatula we can get. In fact, we need more than that, since this is not a playthrough just yet. Which is why I'm going to be picking up every single spatula I can manage, and as mentioned before, every single sock. Speaking of socks, there's also a couple socks to get here in the sandcastle that I'm sure could be optimized a little bit. One of which is something up in the arch, which just now came into render distance, by the way. One thing I've always wondered about this game across different versions is when I play this game, I originally played it on the original Xbox, and I'm playing it right now in Dolphin, in the GameCube version, and it seems like the render distance in this game is a lot shorter than I remember it being when I played it on the original Xbox. I'm not quite sure if that's actually because of any real difference in the games, or just never paid attention to it before. In any case, I believe I actually go to destroy that Thunder Tiki and all the Stone Tiki because it gives me a lot of shiny objects. I do at some points go on my way to pick up shiny objects in this playthrough just for the sake of saving a little bit of time when it comes to getting shiny objects for, what was it, for Mr. Krabs. I recall there being something you can do here. There are a few points in the sandcastle where I try to do some kind of sequence break because I remember there being something. I don't pull it off. I eventually remember something. You're not gonna have to watch me go through this whole thing. At least you're gonna have to watch me go through the whole thing first time. The second time, which probably isn't necessary, because I can probably optimize that too. I'll actually remember that there is in fact a skip that I can pull off. Anyhow, we will actually be coming back here later. This will be the place where we, speaking of Mr. Krabs, grind for shiny objects in order to get all the possible golden spatulas from Mr. Krabs. But now, at the particular moment, we don't have to worry about that. At this moment in particular, all we need to worry about is, one, avoiding the dragon for some reason didn't shoot any flames at me, and two, trying to get around this castle without wasting too much time. I do fail at that latter most goal. Thinking up to myself, I know there's something that I can be doing right here the entire time. I still at this point hadn't quite realized that I cannot actually destroy things by knocking monsoons into them. Hence, oh yeah! Hence that earlier portions, it bounced off the monsoon. I forgot about that. In earlier portions, you actually see me trying to knock monsoons into various things, enemies, as well as duplicator which I tried to do just earlier in this episode when I was next to the lighthouse building, rather on top of it. In this case, I'm trying to figure out what order I would do things in. Pick up the spatula, get the sock, etc. I'm concerned about how I'm going to waste some time by having to come up the sandcastle again after picking up that sock, which is thankfully saved. This right here, we can see there's the missing Thunder Tiki between those two distant Thunder Tikis, the first and the third. In any case, so we do have the sock up top, but then directly below this thing we have... Oh. Okay, that works too. We have another sock. So now I finally realize that we can sequence break this one a little bit by just jumping up, right up, I believe, this part. There we go. Yeah, I wish I'd realized it the first time, but I can only apologize for not having done so. I really have no idea what that one beach ball bounced off of, the one that actually bounced back towards me from behind. I'm amused by that, but I have no real explanation for it. If I had actually recorded this whole thing as a set of inputs instead of just recording it as live gameplay, what I could have done was try to look behind me and see what was happening. But this game actually has really good color, so that probably wouldn't have been possible. For those of you that are familiar with what coloring is, I'm not going to bother with taking details at the moment. In any case, for better or worse, the caves also go off with pretty much without a hitch, honestly. There is... I don't think there's anything in the caves, actually, that will present any issue to Spongebob. There is, in fact, a bus stop here because you can become Patrick here. I don't remember why you would want to. Something tells us that there's one sock you're supposed to get here as Patrick, but... Oh, yes. There's one sock you're supposed to get with the Freeze Patrick. We can take care of that just fine. That's really the only time I get patient. So I just take the sock. There's really only one single sock that you're not supposed to be able to pick up as normal Spongebob in this area, so it's mostly just a normal playthrough, which I found a little dull. I assure you guys, this playthrough got a lot more interesting once you get to the second area and beyond. In fact, the second area especially, you'll have some weird things going on there. But, for now, we're stuck with the easy parts of the game. That means picking up some socks that, well, are easy to pick up. As you can see, there's a raised platform up to the right. We'll get to that without any issue. The sock that I'm talking about that we are supposed to get as Patrick is the one that's actually in the centermost area. The area with the monsoon and hammer, if I remember right. Wow, that was impressive. But this is actually a case of me deciding to take advantage of the fact that I'm playing this game at 50% speed and with save states. So I actually decided to get a little fancy because I'm getting really bored at this point. And after getting rid of all these Thunder Tikis, I decided I want to be really fancy about getting rid of these robots here. So I decided to take out 3 robots, all in one go. One attack, boom. I was very pleased by that. The game gives you extra shiny objects to help out. I never really understood why there was a throw fruit there. I guess just because Patrick won't be able to get rid of the monsoon otherwise, but I don't really see why you should care. I suppose... Well, no, the idea isn't even that you can get through this area as SpongeBob or Patrick, because you need to play SpongeBob to ball bash the buttons. I don't know. I don't really see why you couldn't just leave Patrick vulnerable to that monsoon. In any case, there might be some kind of sequence breaker in order to get from here to the end of the caves to my immediate right. But we got other things to worry about first, primarily that sock in the center, so we need to get there anyhow. I just love how it, just because they could, and just to enhance the atmosphere of the game, they add that window in the cave to the right with the beach in view. Honestly, one of my favorite things about this game. When people like Shift talk about this game being technically impressive, they're talking usually about things like how this game has its wonderful render distance and how you can always see different parts of the game from other parts of the game. And it applies to almost any area. Like you can see Sand Mountain, for example, from the Flying Dutchman Graveyard. You see Sand Mountain almost anywhere. So I can't really manage to come up with anything fancy in this part. Partially because I still don't understand that you can't knock a monsoon into another enemy. So I end up failing to do much of anything fun with the monsoon hammer later. I realize here, all you have to do to pick up the sock is actually just jump around, and normally you can just jump down to that sock and you'll immediately drown. You don't have to actually bounce off the water like normal. But I don't put up with that in the side. All I want to do is actually survive. So I do. And now cue some pointless messing around with enemies because I'm trying to contain myself. I eventually settled for bouncing back towards the hammer and attacking it that way. It's kind of a combo. This combo involves me getting hurt. Anyways, we finally get to where we're actually supposed to be playing as Patrick and we can actually have some fun again doing things as SpongeBob that we're supposed to be doing as Patrick. There's really only one problem here. I mentioned at the beginning of this part that this particular part of the game, Lagoon, is very, very kind to SpongeBob. If they add a couple of glitches. The issue is that there's one part that's really not so kind. See, we can do literally everything in this area. There's nothing that SpongeBob can't do and Patrick can. Whatsoever, in fact, as you'll see. We get all the way to the bumper boats just like this. I'll put damage boosting away. Even right into the box. Not that had any purpose, I just wanted to do it. And then we can get over here and clear the bumper boats. We don't have to worry about that catapult because we already got to where that brings us. Robots. I always wonder if I can actually combo all those robots in one hit, but I didn't really spend too much time trying to do it. Bumper boats are cleared. There's a problem though that we're gonna see later on. I'm not gonna worry about that just yet. I'll explain and examine the problem with that particular spatula at the end of this particular episode. Once again, you see Science Mania to pay shiny objects, we're not going to listen to it. Using a nice little trick found by Cole Udd, we can just jump up to the top. I believe it's found by Cole Udd, it's at least showcased on his channel. We can just jump onto the top here, and with a very, very trippy jump, right here. That's way harder than it looks. There are a few jumps in this game that look so easy, but are simply not. Just pick up one sock. 2,200 shiny objects. Oh no, that's actually, there we go. I was going to complain that 2,200 shiny objects would be a little pricey for a sock, but it's not quite a sock. We don't need any trampolines. And I actually get a glimpse of the sock on top of this kiosk that I almost forgot. So this little, I don't know what you call it. It's supposed to be like a roller coaster, I always thought, I guess. I mean, it's literally a slide. But this thing is actually a little bit more useful than you might expect it to be. One, we can use it to destroy that particular Gatotron, which lets us on sock. But then once we go back, we can actually do something a little bit more helpful. Something a bit more interesting. Because it brings us someplace that, once again, only Patrick's supposed to be able to get to. It's really just an oversight from the devs, like most of the things that we're doing here are. But it's always something I found kind of fun. I'm pretty sure it's possible to actually... I've been curious for a long while if it's possible to pick up a spatula and then simultaneously fall in the goo with this, which would reactivate the saving glitch. But I've never been able to pull it off. It looks like you'd be able to do it. But you can pick up the spatula down here. I think you can pick up that spatula and then fall in that goo without ever touching the ground, which would, in fact, if I managed to miss the goo, which would, I believe, set off the saving glitch, the same one that allowed me to walk outside of the bottom. But I haven't pulled it off. I haven't put too much time into trying either, but preliminary testing has not shown itself to be very promising. I decided to save a little more time. And Wacky is another thing that only Patrick's supposed to be able to do. Look at that. Well, see, there's something funny you can do with Spongebob here. All the TVs are normally by default just down here. There's something stopping you from going down and destroying the TVs yourself with Spongebob, other than the fact that you can't normally destroy all of them because you end up destroying the platforms to stand on. But because these TVs for some reason count as safe platforms, you can actually just let yourself hit the goo and then get bounced back up to what you're standing on previously. So you end up destroying all of them. And despite the fact you die in the cutscene, the sock appears, and it does as well stay there. So that's just another sock. So we have everything we can do here. We've done nearly everything. We've completed all the criteria for every single objective. There's just one thing to do. There's one statue we haven't picked up. Emphasis on pick up. That's carrying the bumper boats, as mentioned before. We have, in fact, done everything we can do. We've carried up the bumper boats. And once I finally realize the quickest route to get back there, I will show off the issue. I don't just warp to it, because it's one of those times where I need to be careful about which taxi warps I use, because warping to the beginning of this area will actually turn you into Patrick. In fact, I believe warping to most, if not all areas on the pier will turn you into Patrick. So I use a little trick that I remember Cole showing off at one point to get up here. Now, this is actually on the spot. I didn't even realize that there was the issue of having to get on top of the boats without Patrick, but you can just use the roller coaster once again. And we go over to Mr. Krabs, who owes us a spatula for having destroyed all the bumper boats. And lo and behold, he doesn't even talk to us automatically. We have to talk to him manually, and he doesn't give us anything. So we are defeated and ejected. We won't get a spatula. Too bad. See you next time.